Okay, so in this video, I want to be sharing how you can be batch creating your LinkedIn content, just pretty much all in one go. Now, if you're someone that has tried batch creating before, maybe it hasn't worked out, or maybe you're pretty new to it, perhaps you've been posting, every now and then, or creating content every day, and you're just not sure, then I just want to use this video as a way to clear up some things and give you a bit more of a strategy and guidance on how you can batch create content. Now, for me, I've been doing batch creation for probably about 6 months now. And it's been super useful because what I used to do when it came to content is that I would basically make a post or even a video, and I would create it on one day and then schedule it for the next day, which is great, right? You know, meant that like content went out at the same time every single day. Now I post 7 days a week. You don't have to post that much. Like all I would say is make sure that it's consistent on the same days and on the same time. So it could be Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10, for example. Right. However, the only problem with this is that, yeah, sure, that post came out, but then I'd also have to, like, obviously do the exact same for the next day. Right. And this just came on a constant loop. And I always had this content creation like thing going on every single day, which, for some people might be good, but for me, it wasn't. It stressed me out and it wasn't exactly something I enjoyed doing. Now, yeah, creating content I do enjoy doing, but every single day and having that thought of, oh, I need to make content today wasn't great. So, what I now do is I now batch create my content. So, whether it be videos or posts or such, I batch create my content all in one day. Well, it doesn't take a full day, but I'll do it pretty much all in one block. Now, this won't all be in one sitting, by the way, but usually it's like probably two sittings. But the idea is, which for me, I do this every Saturday. You don't have to do it on a weekend. I tend to do it on Saturdays because that's just what I do. But the idea is that you can block out a certain amount of time. Like you can block out a certain amount of time and you can just batch create all things in one go. Now, I imagine that the reason why, if you tried things before and it hasn't worked out, why it hasn't worked out. And it's probably because A, you struggle to actually get into the flow state and really get focused on the thing you were doing. Maybe your attention kept going everywhere. Or B, it was just a matter of you were trying to juggle and multitask different things as well. So, really, I just wanted to be able to use this video to clear a few things up. So, first things first, the first thing I really want to talk about is the flow state or deep work, however you call it. Now, you might already know this, so I'm obviously just going to cover this as well. But if you want to batch create content, which it does take a good bit of effort, but obviously it's going to save you time and effort down the line, then you need to get into the flow state. And for this, really, there's a few things I like to do. First thing I like to do is I like to make sure that I've got rid of all my distractions. Now, this will go not just obviously for, say, my phone and keep my phone in the other room or maybe putting on airplane mode, but also for like my laptop, right? In terms of the thing I'm typing on, I'll make sure that the tabs, in terms of the tab that I've got open, is literally just bright, which I'll talk about in a minute, in terms of what I'm going to write my content on. I might have Brain FM here, which I'll have just like playing some music in the background as just a way of being able to just sort of get into that flow state. I just quite enjoy using Brain FM, and maybe a Google Timer, which I'll also talk about in a minute. And the reason being is that before I used to have loads of different tabs where literally like maybe I was writing content over here in Bright and typing away, and then all of a sudden I might check LinkedIn, maybe a notification pops up, I'll check it, whatever, then I'll come back here. And the problem is whenever you switch from the task you were doing and what you were doing to something else, it takes a good bit of time to get back into what you were doing at that optimal state, which is why, if you're someone that struggled with batch creation before, maybe you're like a bit uneasy about it. That's probably why, because you keep jumping about the place and then you keep coming back and you're like, oh, I haven't even finished this yet. So that's really the one thing I just consider as for that. The second thing as well is having a timer or at least a time limit. And the reason why is, I mean, you've probably had some kind of deadline before, which you've always managed to meet. You've always managed to meet whether it meant you stayed up like really, really late or you worked on it for super, super long in a short space of time. And this is because you had the pressure of time. And the idea here is that think to my head, right, I need to write 7 LinkedIn posts in 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever. That's not going to work because in my mind, it just feels like I've got so much pressure and so much stuff that I need to do, which isn't going to help. So, what I do instead, I'm bearing in mind, right, if I was to set a 2 hour timer or a 3 hour timer to do those posts, I probably wouldn't really feel the effect of it until I don't know, I'm at my, like, last 20 minutes of the timer, and I've only done 2 posts or 3 or whatever. So, it's obviously probably not gonna be that effective. However, if we can take it bit by bit, then that would work. So, instead of doing this, what you could instead do is actually do it as a way where it's like, "Okay, for 1 post, we're gonna have 15 or maybe even 20 minutes." And that means that when you do go onto Google, which you can literally just search up timer, and it's going to bring up a timer. And sometimes, or I mean, you can have a manual timer, whatever. Just don't use your phone. I can put 15 minutes, click that, and it's going to start counting. And I can immediately then start writing, and I'm against the clock. You see, right? This is actually going as well. And this is all it's going to do is going to encourage me to get it done because I'm saying, right, I am setting this much time. And obviously, if you blocked out time, right, if you blocked out, say, on your calendar, you blocked out a certain amount of time on your calendar to get this thing done. And maybe you've got some more things to do later. And you, like, you blocked out that time right here. And you've said, okay, well, if each post is going to take me 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes, but probably 20 minutes, maybe even 15, then I need to make sure that I stick to this time. And so you're giving yourself that time limit for each post that you do, which is really going to help you get into that flow state. And if you remove those distractions and you've got a clear space to work and so on and so forth, then I can't see it not working out for you. So that's the first thing I just wanted to say and get that out of the way because the flow state is really, really important when you are trying to go and do that. So the next thing is then obviously writing it, right? Actually writing the content. So the first thing I want to share is Bright. Now, if you haven't used Bright before, and it's one of the resources and tools I've shared as well, it's basically a free LinkedIn content studio, which I quite like to use. Right now, it's free. It'll probably be paid soon. So make sure you use it while you can. What's really quite useful is obviously I can type here and I can see the preview. And that's obviously quite useful as well. But I've already covered this in other videos, so I just want to share how I batch create and use this as well. So first things first, the content bank. What I tend to do is I tend to name, or at least in terms of my content ideas, I tend to structure this into a few areas. It will be problem unaware content, problem aware content, and solution aware content, which is organized here into top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. I do this because, I mean, obviously you'll be able to see in the content area more about this, but this is basically done so I can target all those different stages of awareness that my audience is in. Because obviously they're not all ready to buy, however, they're not completely unaware of the problem that they have. So obviously, if you want to see more about this, I do that. I do have that in the content area. So that's really what I do first because having those titled gives me an idea of, okay, this is the objective. Now you'll also see some here are obviously newsletters. That's just a personal thing that I do, and also hand raising stuff as well, which is also another thing which I might cover as well. But you don't need to worry about that. And some of them are simply just personal posts, which I like to have one of these a week just because I'm human. I've got something to share other than work as well. So that's that. In terms of making them, all you need to do is click add new, and then obviously type in, say, whatever it is. Maybe the title you could have. Obviously, right now I just put it as that. Maybe if you've got an idea, so maybe it could be something to do with, I don't know. So for me, it could be LinkedIn content or whatever, and I could put a tag. And obviously, the tag, I've got tags here in terms of the top, middle, and bottom of the funnel, as well as personal and even my newsletter. But you don't have to worry about that. And so I can say, okay, LinkedIn content, or whatever idea that you have, and then obviously I can then make a note of that. And the cool thing is that if I now go to calendar and I say, okay, well, I probably want that on Tuesday, I can go to ideas and I can select that and add that in, and now it's there. And what I can then do is I can then edit it and go straight into that. And what's cool as well that when I do go to schedule and post this down below, it's also going to obviously I need to fill it in on LinkedIn, but it's going to actually say at least here that I've gone and posted that as well. So that's obviously really useful. And even if you do remove it, it hasn't actually removed it from your idea; it's just removed it from the calendar. So it's really easy in terms of moving things around. But I don't want to obviously get too much into that. So really, from there, what I like to do, the first thing I like to do is obviously I like to put them into their categories and maybe even their titles as well. And obviously, once I've then say found them on the calendar and such, then I'll obviously look to then write it. Now, obviously, this is probably going to be either for top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, aka problem unaware, problem aware, solution aware. So what we've got here is we also have templates. Now, if you're really struggling with writing content, bearing in mind you should have an idea of the objective here. So are you trying to, raise the awareness of the problem unaware? Are you trying to give the problem aware a solution, or are you trying to give the solution aware, the fact that your solution is, relevant to them? So you'll have an idea, right? Now you can use these templates, and to be fair, if you're really struggling to maybe start off somewhere, I would recommend. Only thing is, don't overuse these, don't rely on these, just because some of these can feel a bit repeated and can feel a bit, I suppose, blocky in terms of like how things go. But I definitely consider using those if you are really struggling. One thing you can do is actually have notes. So what I like to do, I like to have notes in relation to everything I need to know about, or everything I could consider in relation to problem unaware, problem aware, and solution aware, which means that I can obviously be typing here and such, and I can look at my notes as well, which I can open up as well. I've even got links here as well if I want to, say, copy and paste stuff in there, which maybe I use usually. To be fair, I could probably put my school community in there, but that's that. So you can obviously use that, and obviously you can preview as well to see how it's looking, which is going to be really important as well. So yeah, the first thing is being able to actually title everything. The second thing, and really just the third thing, is being able to use these templates and such as well, and being able to start this off. Now, really, a lot of these structures is pretty much going to be, pretty much it's going to be being able to call out a problem. Oh, that is awful. Sorry, my handwriting's everywhere. The first thing is going to be calling out a problem. Well, that wasn't much better. But first thing, when it comes to content, call out a problem. Because obviously, when we're thinking about the hook, what is going to hook them in the most? Well, really calling out the problem, or it could even be a desire, right? And you'll probably find the best hooks you've come across, or the best posts you come across, have either had a really good or desirable desire, or it's been a pretty painful problem that you're dealing with, or something. So that's really what I focus on for the first sort of section. Doesn't have to be the hook, but just the first section. Then obviously, like once you've talked about the problem or the desire or even the result, if you're doing more of a say like a client like testimonial thing. Okay, sorry, my pen went out there for a second. So once we have the why in terms of exactly why they should listen, why they should stop the scroll and listen to you, then we want to do the what. And the what is going to be exactly what they need to know and perhaps what they need to do to solve this problem or to get this desire, or perhaps even what you did to help your client get the certain result. Now, obviously, this is pretty flexible in terms of the type of content you make, but overall, you'll then, you'll basically start with the why. You'll start with the why, then you'll go to the what. Now, you see, really from here, you can then go, if you want, into the how and the now if you want. Now, obviously, the why is useful, obviously, in terms of the problem and the potential desire or solution they have. The what is useful because it backs it up in terms of the logic, in terms of what they need to do, right? Because obviously, the why is more emotional. This is obviously more logical. So it helps back that up and give both sides. And usually, a lot of the time, you're going to be selling the how. That's going to be your offer, right? Now, that said, if what you're doing, say, isn't a like more of a bottom of the funnel or offer type post, what this can be instead is some form of resource or video or even just actionable steps that helped, that helps your ideal clients, or that helped, say if you're like if you're chatting about yourself or such, that helped you then go, say like from, the why, the what, and then the how as well. And obviously the now is what they can do right now, the second, to actually, help them say, achieve this desire, solve this problem. So if it's more of an offer post, that could obviously be, say, DMing you a certain word to, work with you or to learn more. Or perhaps if, say, you were to, have a certain resource or video or whatever it might be, then maybe that might be commenting on the post, a certain word for them to get access to the video or resource, or maybe you just have the link below as well. But that's pretty much, overall the approach that I would use for batch creating content. Now, obviously, you do want to be watching the content video I do have on awareness content, as this is going to give you a bit more clarity as to what you should be focusing on specifically. But I really, really like this because what it does just do is just allows you, because once you're in that flow state, once you've got into that rhythm, really it is just a matter of, okay, well, how can we now use Bright as a way, of being able to basically create content, and I basically have all that mapped out, exactly where I need it, and then obviously using that timer for like each post to give you that like almost good pressure on yourself to get the work done. So this is pretty much what I'm using. If you have any question on this, do let me know, because I can obviously make more videos, or just even share more about this. So you can obviously let me know on that, or maybe even just post in the community. But other than that, this is basically the video, and hopefully you found this useful.